Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a long-awaited endometriosis update. So I think my last video on this was a couple years ago, and so I thought that I would update you guys because I still get comments on those videos asking questions, and I thought that I would sit down and I would go through some of the comments that I feel like I need to answer, and also sort of what's happening now because things have changed a lot since my last endo video. So I'm now just over 4 years, I believe it is, post-op from my endometriosis surgery. I had my surgery in 3 years post-op? No, 4 years. 4 years post-op because my oldest child is 3, and I had my surgery just before we fell pregnant with him. So I had my surgery in April 2016. I had my surgery in April 2016, so I'm literally just over 4 years post-op, and I had laparoscopic surgery. So if you have, like I said in my last video, if you want details on my surgeon and who I used and all that sort of stuff and about the surgery itself, let me know in the comments and I can make a detailed video on that. But this video is not going to be sort of going straight in depth about surgery. It's sort of about post-surgery. So to answer all those questions of people who asked me, I was very, very fortunate. My doctor gave me the okay within my first post-op appointment after my surgery, and to start trying straight away for a baby. And I actually had my period when I went in for surgery, so it worked out in my cycle that I fell pregnant immediately in the cycle post-surgery. And the idea is that when your surgery is done, you are a clean slate. So the next couple months post your surgery are the most prime time to try for a baby. And I was basically told if we weren't successful in the next 6 months to come back and we would look at other options. But I was so incredibly blessed that we fell pregnant immediately. Then post Lachlan, we fell pregnant when he was 8 months old. When he was about 6 weeks old, I got the Implanon put in with Lachlan. Now that caused a whole bunch of dramas, but I kept it in for as long as I could until we decided that we were happy to get taken out and to sort of leave the chips as they fall as they may if we fell pregnant again, and we actually fell pregnant straight away. So again, we were very lucky, and I have a feeling it was because I was on the Implanon between my 2 pregnancies that my hormones didn't sort of go crazy. So we were still we had the pregnancy, which would have kept me from going any endo, and then with the Implanon, I'm one of those people that don't actually get my period during the Implanon, but what I would get was just excessive blood clot passing every now and then. It would be very rare, but when it would happen, I would get really, really large blood clots, and I would pass a lot of them. It was kind of scary. So, and also the Implanon caused migraines. I do get migraines very occasionally when I'm not on the Implanon, but with the Implanon in, I was getting migraines a lot. And so that was one of the main concerns for me to take it out. The other thing was weight gain, or sort of making it very difficult to lose weight. And this is not something that a lot of the doctors actually agree with. A lot of doctors say this is not a side effect of Implanon, but as someone who's been on Implanon 3 times now, I have to say that when I have the Implanon put in, not only do I gain weight, but it makes it very difficult to lose it. And when I took the Implanon out all 3 times that I had it, I lost weight very quickly afterwards without barely trying. So I don't know whether it was I was retaining a lot of water or what it was, but that was something that the Implanon had for me. So at the moment, currently on birth control, I'm on none. Now I know with endo that can be quite risky, but I just found that the birth control completely messes with me. There's not a lot I can be on because I suffer from migraines and endo, so they can't put me on a normal estrogen-based pill, and then they can't put me on a mini pill because of my migraines, and that can be a cause for blood clots. And then on top of that, I had the IUD inserted post-Isaac, which didn't even stay in a couple weeks. I had it put in when he was about 3 months old, and within a couple weeks it actually fell out. I was lucky enough to notice that it was falling out and was able to get into the doctor and have it removed properly, because that can cause massive internal damage. And then I wasn't game to try again. really freaking scary. I have friends who have the IUD and think it's great, but I wouldn't go back. For actual side effects and stuff, I didn't feel any difference, but I didn't really have it in long enough, I suppose, to notice any difference. But yeah, it fell out, so that's kind of scary. And then I haven't been on anything. I got the implant put in after that, and then I had it taken out for the previous reasons I mentioned: weight gain, migraines, that sort of stuff, and blood clots. So I'm no longer on birth control. What I am doing at the moment is maintaining it with my lifestyle, which is kind of weird, and I couldn't have done this pre-surgery. I think this is something that I've been able to manage because I had my surgery and removed my endo. And so basically I regularly exercise. I try and exercise at least 4 days a week. Nothing's like, I like quite intense workouts, but I mean, you don't have to do something super intense, just moving your body. I eat fairly low carb or keto. Now, obviously I go through phases where I come off this, and that is difficult for my body, obviously. And I find that when I am not doing keto, my cramps are a lot worse. So that's something to really consider. Now, I am not a health professional in the way I'm not a doctor or a nutritionist, so please speak to your own doctor or nutritionist or dietitian or something if this is something you're thinking of. I do eat low carb keto, and I have done that on and off since I stopped birth control, and that has really maintained. I went off for a little while when we were moving house because we were staying with family. It was really difficult to eat keto when we were staying with family, and I found that my cramps were a ton worse. Now, that's not to say they were anywhere near as bad as they were pre-laparoscopy, but they are pretty uncomfortable the first 2 days of my cycle. Another thing that's changed is I very rarely get mid-cycle cramping, which was a big thing for me pre-surgery. I might get it on occasion, but it's nothing like it used to be. It's a little bit of niggles, nothing crazy. My cramps are now very easily maintained with paracetamol and ibuprofen. And as long as I'm regular with those, it keeps up with it. But like I said, being on keto makes a huge difference to me. My body copes so well on it. I very rarely get any cramps. I mean, I still get cramps, but nothing excessive. And it's definitely bearable, which is amazing. So ongoing, if I'm not keto, then I try and stick with low carb and just add fruit. That's sort of the difference. When I sort of go off keto, I try and still stick low carb because, I mean, there's a lot of research out there, but basically keto or low carb meals sort of help to decrease the inflammation in your body, which obviously helps to decrease the feeling of endo. So there's that. As for actual symptoms pre my period, like I said, I don't really get the mid-cycle cramping that much anymore. If I do get it, it's not that common. I still do get migraines. Not as often, but I still do get them, nowhere near as badly as I was when I was on birth control. Another thing that I've started to get, which I never got pre-surgery, and I think this was my hormones starting to balance out, was I now break out pre my period. Within 2 or 3 days of when I'm about to get my period, I break out. It is what it is. I sort of know when to expect it. I use an app on my phone. I'll leave it up here on the screen, what one it is. I can't think of what it is right this very second, but I use that to track my cycle and to track my symptoms. My cycle currently is irregular, which pre-surgery never was. My cycle could go from anywhere from like 20 days to 47, 50, 60 days, which was ridiculous when we were trying for a baby because it made it impossible to tell. Now my cycle is a regular 26, 27 day cycle, which is a little bit shorter than your average 28-day cycle, but that is fine. And so it has been like that since I came off Implanon. I've been sticky with the 26 to 27 days, and I really can't complain about that. It's been regular every time. So I don't know whether the keto definitely helps with that, the regularity, but that's helped. And as for like heaviness and stuff, I feel like it's fairly normal. My first 2 days are heavier than the last 2 days, but they're nothing excessive. I don't really like using tampons. That's another thing that I found with my endo. It's just really uncomfortable for me. And so I found I've been using these period pants called Modi Body. Again, I'll leave a picture up here because I don't feel comfortable showing under it on the internet. It's a bit weird, but I'll leave a picture up here. and I'll leave them linked down below. This is not affiliated, I'm not sponsored, but I love these. These are so incredibly comfortable. They're just like wearing normal underwear, but they've got like a built-in pad, I guess. But you don't have to worry about trying to have that discomfort of wearing a pad or having to change it constantly, or the discomfort that I had when I was using tampons, and I found with my Endo that tampons were just really uncomfortable for me. And so that is that. I use that as well. The other symptoms that I get is a lot of bloating, and again, I think this is the endo bloat, or endo belly is what they call it. You get super bloated just before your period's about to come, or sort of in the middle of your cycle, or if you eat too much carbs. And I definitely get this, especially the first couple of days before my period and when I get it. But that is, it's expected with endo, I guess. I think even people who don't have endo get this sort of thing. But obviously I feel pretty awful. And the last thing I've got written down before I just sort of go into how I'm feeling and what I'm doing a little bit more is sort of, would I need to have surgery again, or would I have surgery again? And look, if I needed to have it, I absolutely would. I do have private health insurance that covers it, or covers some of the cost. If we were to have another baby, which we don't know if we will at this stage, I have 2 little boys. If you guys are new to my channel, I have a nearly 2-year-old and a nearly 3.5-year-old. And we had them back to back. If you're wondering, we were told by my doctor if we wanted to have more than one child, and we were lucky enough to fall pregnant, to have them as close as possible in age, because obviously the longer that I go between, the more chances of my endo growing back. And I had pretty severe endo. I can leave my endo story linked up the top in the cards if you guys want to check out my original video. But I had very severe endo and a lot of scarring, and I was very incredibly lucky that I got it caught when I did. That was what I was told. So if we decide to have another baby and we were unsuccessful trying just naturally, then absolutely I would have the surgery again, especially if I was feeling symptoms of it again. Like I said, at the moment my symptoms are very easily managed, but if I was starting to feel those symptoms again, then I would definitely do it. It was definitely worth it for me. I know a lot of people say that their surgery didn't do anything, but for me, my surgery was fantastic. My recovery was great, and I really cannot complain. I have had such an amazing experience. I've been so incredibly lucky with my experience that my endo hasn't really come back and flared up too much. I think I get probably just some really nasty cramps, but nothing like they used to be. I mean, my cramps used to be like, I could compare them to labor now that I've had kids, except I didn't get the break that you get when you go through labor, when you have your contractions. It was just constant for days on end, and that was just awful. And I don't get that anymore. Now, if I take some Panadol and some ibuprofen, it's a dull ache. It's still there, but it's a dull ache, and it's definitely manageable. And so if you are questioning whether or not you should have surgery, like I said, I had a laparoscopic surgery, and so they just went in and cleaned it all out. I can't really comment on other types of surgeries or on full hysterectomies and things like that, because I've not had that, and that was not the right move for my body. I wanted to have children post-surgery, which was the reason, besides my pain and side effects, that we were looking into this. And so this was something that was an amazing move for me, and while it was expensive, it was probably the best thing I ever did. So I thought I would just come on here and update you guys on my endo. Like I said, this is just an update video. I have my full endo story on my channel. Like I said, I'll leave it up in the cards if you're interested in it. I also have some other endo videos I'll leave linked in the description box if you want to check them out, like fertility things. But as for now, like I said, I eat keto, I exercise regularly, I do take multivitamins every day, which seems to really help, and regular Panadol and ibuprofen very regularly on the days when I'm getting cramping, and that seems to manage my pain to a point where it's doable. So that is my routine. That is my endo update. If I have missed anything in this video, please leave me comments down below and I will get back to you as soon as possible, or I can make another video answering any questions you have. I'm not doing anything super exciting. I had a terrible experience with birth control, and so I'm going without it. And so that's very controversial with endo, but it is what it is, and it is what I'm trying. So I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Please don't forget to click the subscribe video. Please don't forget to click the subscribe button if you want more videos from me, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!